Hi everybody, happy Saturday. It's Lori Houston. I hope everybody is having a great weekend. I apologize that I say this on every video, realizing that I do all my videos on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and then I schedule them to come out during the week. So you probably won't see this on Saturday or Sunday. It'll be later this week. Thank you so much for joining me. I thought today, I've had so many great positive comments regarding my Flower Pop series, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how I mix my paints for these Flower Pops. So what I thought I would do, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start with the paints that I did in a couple of the Flower Pops, which these were the Mondo Llama paints. I'm sure you can see that. They're at Target. They were $1.75 and now they are $2.25. You know what they say, good things, the price always goes up. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how I mix these paints. They are not a high quality, high pigmented paint. They're just not. This is an everyday paint. They have it in their craft section for kids to be able to practice and experiment, but I just found some of the colors to be so beautiful. And in addition, Target also, I've talked about these ceramic coat flash metallic, and this is in the aqua. And this little bottle's expensive. They're $5, $4.99. However, they're amazing in paintings. So what I'm going to do today, we're going to mix some colors up for my next Flower Pop, and we're going to go over some of the tools that I use to do it as well, and some of the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way as I've started this journey. With the Mondo Llama, again, they're a little bit thinner, they're not highly pigmented, and I was doing them 3-to-1, meaning 3 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. And I realized at that point that I could cut it down and the Flower Pops would still, the composition would still work out okay, but I could do 2.5-to-1 so that the color really is shows up in the painting. And as you know, Floetrol is not a binder. It doesn't bind the paint. So I am going to be doing some Flower Pops with some new mediums that I've bought and try to experiment with some of those fun things. Liquitex just come out with a medium that has a silver metallic and a gold metallic. I've gotten those and I'm going to try that real soon. But today I just kind of want to go over how to mix them, and this is just such an easy process and it's so much fun. So what I love too is I got these cups at Walmart. They're 9-ounce cups, and if you can see the ridges, oh my gosh, they were made for my Flower Pops. And that is, I typically use these up into about a 14 by 18 canvas. I've done a few. And when you're measuring your paint to your canvas, you actually take the length times the width and you divide it by 28. That will give you the ounces that you need in a painting. However, with the Flower Pop, when I do the swipe technique and I pull it and then I'm blowing it, I sometimes can tell with the canvas, there's so many different factors. The type, if I didn't gesso the canvas, if it's a cheaper canvas, if I gesso the canvas, which I will do a video on gesso as well, that puts kind of a layer. So even if these paints are really thin, it'll kind of set on top of the canvas and you won't see the bare canvas. But if I don't have any gessoed and I grab one and you just want to paint, then I have to be really careful with how thin I make my paints. Otherwise, I'm doing a lot of touch-ups afterwards. So, as I stated, these cups are great. These are 9-ounce cups, and we are going to, what I love about these, if you look at the second little ridge here, the second little notch is 2.5 ounces, which is nice. And then the third notch is 3 ounces. And then if you go all the way up, I hope you can see that, that's 5 ounces. And to the top notch, it's 6. So it's perfect when I'm doing a 2.5 and I want to double it. That'd be 5 ounces to 2 parts paint. So it works great when I'm using these for the Flower Pops. So what I do is I get my scale and I go ahead and set it to 0, and I put my cup on there, and I get it back to 0 again. So we're starting with 0 ounces. I make sure my Floetrol is shaken really well. And just remember, Floetrol can have a consistency very thick or very thin, so you have to watch that. At the dollar store, believe it or not, they still have good old pantyhose. I just put that on the top with a rubber band, and that strains it. So you get all those goobers out. Okay, so today, for the size canvas, I think I want a little bit more paint. And remember what I said, I'm doing 2.5 Floetrol to 1 part paint. So I'm gonna double it. So it's going to be 5 ounces of Floetrol to 2 ounces of paint. So we're gonna put 5 ounces in, and I had stated that this line here, right here, was 5 ounces. So we're gonna go ahead, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. So let's go ahead and get all your Floetrol measured. I'm gonna go up to the 5 ounce line. Okay, there's 5. And I look on my scale and it tells me 5 ounces. Perfect. One more little drop. There we go, 5 ounces. Now, 5, 2, 2. So I am going to, this is actually 2 ounces. So I'm going to show you how I do that as well. So I'm going to use this whole bottle. So we're gonna take the top off of this. And actually, I'm gonna grab some gloves. I really wanted to do this from start to finish so that you can see exactly what I do when I am mixing my paints. There we go. I'm gonna take this cap off and throw that away. And then we're gonna pour this in, and it's gonna go to 7 ounces when we get it all in. Look at that luscious color. This is actually Fancy Aquamarine with a shimmer finish. I love shimmer. Okay, here we go. You just kind of tilt and tip. Okay, and you can see that my ounces are only at 6.6 because paint, you know, of course it clings to the inside. Another thing that I realized is if I'm gonna use the whole bottle, what I'll do, I'll take just a squirt bottle and I'll squirt some inside or pour some inside, a little bit more. And then I'll shake the bottle up, get all that paint out of there, and then I'll pour it in. Perfect. And it's almost at 7. Do it again. I'm very careful because, again, these are already not highly pigmented, so I don't want to take away from the color. Go ahead and pour it. Look at that. We are right at 7 ounces. That is perfect. So I typically, let me get a paper towel here. I typically save these bottles until I do my flower pot because I want to remember the colors even though it's empty. So I'm going to set this aside. I actually can just go ahead and mix real quick. So I'm going to mix this up. And, you know, a lot of my paints when I'm done, whatever I have left over, let's see, Bessie here, I go ahead and store in a bottle, and I do have some cups with lids that work really well. But again, oh, this is such a luscious color. Can you see that? It's absolutely gorgeous. And a lot of the techniques, if you don't have your consistency correct, it's not going to work. And I think that's the hardest thing that I've watched a million YouTube videos for 2 years. And I think the hardest question, and the question that a lot of artists get often is, you know, they're consistent. If a technique doesn't work, they want to know the exact measurements. You've got to play around with it. It's not something that you can just, the reason is I've bought Floetrol that's been very thin and some that's been very thick. So you could be doing 2 parts Fluitrol and 1 part paint and it not work, but it worked yesterday in the other bottle. So I think it's really important that, you know, you experiment. And I'm actually going to show you some premixed paints as well. So you can see this consistency of this. I'm gonna bring it up. You see that? It leaves a mound on a mound. So this is a little bit thick. Again, you see that? And I'm gonna show you what I use as well. Okay, so we've got one of our colors. So easy, easy peasy. All right, next, let's see. I'm going to wipe that off. I'm going to zero out my scale and put my cup back on, zero it out completely, and then we're going to go ahead and we are going to do 5 ounces, 2.5 and 2.5. And what's great, like I said, I just go up to that line, I stop. There we go, 5 ounces right on the nose. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the same thing. We're going to take, this one is raw turquoise, and this is a satin finish. I love mixing all these different finishes on these paints. Throw that away, and we're going to just pour this in. And just kind of, I am at 6.3. Get all the paint out of here. I think it usually ends at about, this one's coming out a little bit better. I might get 6.7 maybe before adding water. So, and even the same brands, the paint consistency can be very, very different. You'd be surprised. There's a bubble on top. Okay, so we're gonna put some water in here and we're gonna put the cap on. We'll shake it up real good. And then we're going to pour it in. And we are at 6.8, 6.9, almost there. Probably needed just a little water, and a little bit isn't going to hurt. There we go. That's what I love. It's exactly 7. And being off a little bit is not going to hurt, trust me. So we're going to go ahead. And in this particular technique, you don't always have to have stir, 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 scrape, scrape, scrape. You don't always have to have exactly the same consistency, because you are, this one I'm doing a swipe, and then I'm blowing the flowers out after. So you're able to, you have a little bit of wiggle room. That's why I think swipes are so much fun and allow you to, it's forgiving. You can have a few errors, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right. And of course, I'm mixing these now, and I probably won't pour with them right away, and that's fine. They've lasted, you know, in the bottles when I mix them up. I'll show you, this is the Delta Flash. I'll mix them up in bottles. They last for months. So it's wonderful. So if I have any left over, I'll put it in a small bottle, or I'll go ahead and you can also use the press and seal. Oh my goodness. All right, there's the second color. And let's see if you can see the consistency here. Same thing, leaves a little mound on a mound. All right, then the next thing, we're gonna clear out our scale. We're gonna put our cup on again, and we're going to clear it out again. And we're gonna, whoop, it didn't clear, back to 0. And then we're gonna put our 5 ounces in. Okay, I love these cups. Okay, back to 5 ounces. Now we're gonna do our sparkling pool. Aw, such a shame. We're getting ready to close our pool tomorrow. Yeah, these cold nights just don't allow you to swim past. You always think, oh, I'm gonna swim one more month, but it never works out. September always brings in some cold nights, and the pool gets chilly quick, so that's okay. We will just keep a flower pot going with the pool colors. This is another satin color. I really think it's it's pretty. But again, these are very similar colors. So most likely when I do my petals on the flower pop, I'm going to have to distinguish between the petals like I do with my skewer and black paint. Okay, just getting all of this out. Just keep it running out. Good. We're at 6.8 on this one. There's always a little bubble in the top. We're going to squirt some water in there. Okay. Shake it up real good. Pour it in. It's a pretty color. I'll be anxious. It's so awesome when you're mixing your paints for this flower pop. Then you're wondering what they're going to look like when you blow them out. Okay, perfect. And we're just going to mix, 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 scrape, 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 stir. And you could use a bigger cup, you know, so you have more room, but I love when I'm measuring, even though I have a scale. And to be honest with you, I don't use the scale with these cups. I'm just doing this to show you, you know, what I do, what will help you in the beginning. You know, once you get familiar with the cups that you're using, and, you know, as you do a technique, it's so important that you master one first before moving to the next. That way, you know, you'll know exactly what you need to do. And again, I'll show you this consistency. Yeah, can you see that? Just a mound on a mound. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to move my stool up, go to the next one. Okay, we're gonna set the cup on there. It's zeroed out, and we're gonna go ahead and again, we're gonna go to 5 ounces. And I'm trying to do bigger canvases. So I like making a larger batch like this. All right, now this color, this flash color, can you see that? The bottom usually shows it better. It actually has the flash in it of this one. Ooh, that's gonna be gorgeous. So shake it up real good. And this is a 2-ounce bottle as well. So I would use the whole thing. I'm always sad when I use a whole bottle of this because I need to buy more than just one bottle at a time, I guess, so that I have it in. And oh, it's so beautiful. This is going to be a gorgeous flower pop, I can tell. Okay, we are at 6.6. So, oh, got a bubble. Popped right out of there. Look at that. Can you see that? Oh, it popped. All right. We're getting there. We're getting there. 6.7. I think sometimes when you let your paints set as well, I'm actually going to pour some water in this one. I think when you let your paints set, it's good for them. It gets some of the bubbles out. I'll set that there. Let's shake this one up. Shake it up real good, and then we'll pour it in. There we go. That one had a little bit more in it. And I like to save my bottles till I write down what my colors are, which I'll show you a neat trick that I do with this as well. Okay, we're going to stir this up. And remember, this is a color shifting paint. So it'll appear very similar to the one of the green that we already have used, but the shift in it is the blue. So I'm hoping when I do the color pop, when you move the painting, it's going to show you different colors. Very excited. But again, I have a tendency to go towards the aqua and blue. I love the ocean. I love the sea. I love the serene feel, the smell, the air, everything about the ocean. And so I tend to go towards these colors. So I'm trying to venture out and do some other some other colors. I don't know if you can see, that is so beautiful. And it's actually the same consistency. So we got really lucky. Beautiful, gorgeous color. Okay, so that is my 4 colors. And for the swiping color, what I typically do is, this is my Lowly Vethy bottles. I absolutely love them. These are the 16-ounce bottles. And I keep swiping a large amount made, and it makes it a lot easier. So I just wanted to show you that I was using the Warm Embers from Mondo Llama for this swipe. And I've already got 2 bottles made, but it's exactly the same technique that I just, went ahead and showed you. What I think I want to do next, I want to show you a few things that I use. So we have this nifty, when I'm doing my flower pops, of course I use my straw. This is probably my favorite straw, just a plain old metal straw. And then from Pour, Scrape, Repeat, I bought the Puffy 2000, and here he is. He's over here. I love Puffy, and he allows me to create petals in a different way than my straw, because the amount of air at the bottom is absolutely amazing. I can create more control with the petals. So I use this a lot. I absolutely love it. And I was watching Tammy Anderson's live video last evening, and she had this consistency gauge. See if you can see that, which I absolutely love. And it is also from Pour, Scrape, and Repeat. And it's where you put a drop of your paint on, and then you watch it and to make sure the consistency is the same in all your paints. So when I can tell pretty much in this, all these paints are the exact same consistency. And that's great. You're lucky when you can find paints that are the same consistency, but that doesn't always happen. So this is going to be so awesome to have. It was a brilliant idea. I'm actually going to mix up some tube paints and show you the difference here in a minute. And we're going to use this chart. I also got some neat stuff from the same company, Pour, Scrape, Repeat, and I'll link their email below. But these are some cool swiping tools. Can you see that? So I plan on doing some neat swipes. I am actually going to do a flower pop and swipe from the top, even though it's going to run over. I'm only going to do the width of this swiping tool. And then I'm going to do some gold foil on the side. I can't wait to do that one. But I actually got 4 of these, and I have not experimented with them yet. If they're as good as Puffy, I'm going to be in love. But it's so cool to be able to do some swipes. I absolutely love them. I'll let you know how it goes. Make sure when you, before you throw anything out, you look to see if it's something you could use. For instance, at the dollar store, when you get your round, if we're going to make a chicken out on the grill and we set it on the stand, it comes with these little inserts to keep your food warm, because they're like food serving. So I keep them, and I use this to do the same thing as the consistency gauge. So a lot of times what I'll do when I'm unsure, I'll take some of the paint and I'll just put a little dot of each color there. And I'm going to show you. We're going to use the consistency gauge for the tube paints that I'm getting ready to mix. I'm going to do one here. Okay. And we're going to do another one right here. I'm hoping you can see that. Let me move these out of the way. And then the last one. And what I do is I go ahead and I put a dot. Okay. And then I hold it up. I'm going to bring it over here so you can see. And I let the paints, and it'll tell you if your paints are the same consistency. Can you see that? Oh, looks pretty darn good, doesn't it? You can see that these three are exact. Ironically, this one, which we all know which one that is the paint that's a little bit different. That was this one. This was the Delta ceramic coat, this one. So that one is a little bit thicker, so it's a little bit slower. That little bit in my flower pop is not going to hurt anything. Okay, so we've got our paints all mixed. I think that at this point, we'll be doing a flower pop very soon with these colors. I will reference this mixing of the paints at the end of my videos. I will continue to show you as I experiment with different mediums and paints so that you can see if I've changed my recipe or you can see the consistency. But as I said, it's leaving a little mound on a mound. And these paints are a little bit thinner. And I'll do other painting videos with two paints, with my golden paints, with fluid paints, with pre-mixed paints. I'll be sure to share all of the tips and things that I learn along the way. So please, if you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. If you want to see more tips, tricks, and more educational videos on how I create my artwork, please feel free to reach out to me at lorihouston56@gmail.com. I'll be glad to answer any questions or help you in any way that I can. I hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend. It's great to be able to do this. I'm so very thankful. Please take care, and we will see you until next time. Bye, everybody.